Is your demanding work lifestyle in need of fire-resistant clothing that can keep up? Well, L4FR clothing should be your go-to for quality, affordability, safety, and style. L4FR was founded by a third-generation oil field worker who is also a veteran. Thus, this company has a deep appreciation for reliability and longevity, all while we provide first-rate customer service. Our durable apparel will serve you well for many years to come, whether you're working on a pipeline, a lineman climbing utility poles, or in any other environment requiring fire-resistant apparel. L4FR has you covered. Our apparel is tough enough to resist hazardous conditions while still providing high comfort and style. L4FR provides clothing options to ensure your safety and comfort, whether you're on the job or not. To view our complete inventory of flame-resistant garments, please visit our online store at l4frclothing.com or give us a call at 817-757-4935. Si habla español.
Struggling with mobility, chronic pain, work, or sports injury? At Azalea Orthopedics, our team of highly trained physicians specialize in complete orthopedic care, pain management, sports medicine, physical medicine, and rehabilitation. If you've sustained a bone or joint injury, have mobility or movement problems, struggle with pain, contact Azalea Orthopedics. We're conveniently located across East Texas, serving 18 counties. When visiting your doctor, urgent care, or hospital, you have a choice. Demand Azalea. At Azalea Orthopedics, your health is our priority.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the week 8 of the weekly wrap-up show here on NETSN. Your boy Brett Swinney here alongside of me. I've got Christian Blevins, Mr. Red Zone, Kyle Owens, and our man Spence is back with us this week by popular demand. And also, he had some things to say this week, so he was wanting to jump back on, and we may have some others join us here soon. Guys, how's everybody's week going?
Good,
it's been going good.
Can't complain. It's getting ready for another exciting week around East Texas for high school football. District's hot and heavy now, so I'm excited to see what all happens this weekend. But it's been a good week so far.
Yeah, district's a little weird now, especially after all that happened Friday with a lot of districts around East Texas. So, I'm ready for the Friday and Saturday. See what
Can we say Friday the 13th was in full effect last Friday night?
Yes, it was. It was a wild night for football.
It was a little bit. So, I did okay. I went 6-4, and with everything the chaos that happened, I honestly was okay with 6-4, just because no one got 10. Our highest, we had 14 people tie this week with 8. Kyle, I think you were one of those. Christian and Spence, how'd you guys do this week?
I went I think I went 7-3. There was a lot of games that got jacked up. I picked center to be Van and Chapel to be Lindell. I think Grant Saline lost too. So, yeah.
I think I could have went 9-1. We talked about this earlier today on the Beast from the East show, but I should have picked Gladewater. I was this close to choosing Gladewater, and I almost went with them, and I didn't, and I should have, and then I would have been the only one 9-1.
Look,
but I almost did.
Hey, the one person in the whole pick'ems that picked Lindell.
Hey,
Congratulations!
shout out Jake! Shout out Jake!
Congratulations! You were one of the only. You were the only person that had enough cojones to pick Glendale. I give that to you. You earned that one.
My hat's
You
off
listen
to
to me.
Corey, next time you just got to listen to yourself.
I wasn't gonna pick against my team, but man, it was Friday the 13th, dog. That's all I'll say.
It was weird. It was weird.
It wasn't a good week of football, period. It wasn't a good weekend for football, period. It was weird.
I was glad. That's what we talked about. I was glad the Longhorns were off. They didn't get mixed up in all this nonsense. Spence, how'd you do this? How'd you do this week, Spence?
Your Cowboys almost got locked up in it on Monday night. We thought that it wouldn't carry over to the weekend. They almost got locked into it. Oh, Spence didn't do well at all.
He must have really did bad. Eddie's already laying blame. I blame that on Corey. Oh, he's already laying blame.
Blame it on me. Blame it on me. Blame it on Friday the 13th. Blame it on Jason.
Hey, listen. USC got beat. Washington beat Oregon. I was good Saturday. I was
USC
great.
was gonna get beat anyway. They've been playing like trash. USC was bound to get beat.
But here's the thing: I knew it was coming. They were gonna lose to somebody. I picked them to lose 3 games this year, and Michael Penix Jr. is probably going to be the Heisman winner.
He should.
Because I just don't think that Bo Nix is better. I just don't think so.
That kid from Duke should be the Heisman. That kid from Duke is great. Can't think of his name. No, he's pretty good.
Oh, he said he blamed the one person that picked Lindale on Corey. No, I think Jake probably would have picked Lindale anyway. He was probably thinking the same thing as Corey. He's not going to pick against his team. So that's I'm sure he's thinking the same thing there. So just kind of taking a look at what's going on with our overall standings. Kyle, me and you are now tied at 60. We're the top NETSN pick'em score. Eddie, you're right there. Eddie, you're at 59. You're still below us. I am proud of this one that we are ahead, Kyle, of our man Diggs.
Oh,
Diggs had a rough week. He actually did worse than I did. He had 5-5. He even made a post, and I got tagged in it on Twitter because he had like an 80-something% of his picks, but he was 5-5 in the East Texas one. It was rough sledding for him.
Yeah, well, and he also probably wasn't happy if he watched Monday Night Raw and saw an amazing match with Bronson Reed. So Diggs is having a rough week. Diggs is having a rough week.
No, Big Bronson Reed.
Big Bronson Reed.
Jeremy is right below him at 56. Hey, intern Claire has 51.
Hey, shout out Claire.
Intern Claire, 51. I'm not gonna go any farther. I'm not gonna go any farther down. But intern Claire at 51, that's awesome. I'm curious to see. I heard this rumor she might go against her alma mater this week, so I'll be interested to see if she goes through with that or not. But man, I think our man Shivers his lead is cut though. He is 2 ahead of Jamar Washington. So shout out to Jamar. He's gained on him. My brother is sitting there at 61. So those are the top 3. Kyle, we're right below him. We're close.
I'm coming for him. I'm feeling good about this week. This week's picks were hard though. This week's picks were difficult.
Yeah, I would say that this week's probably going to have the most parity as far as games not being like one-sided picks. I think you're going to have a lot more of the, if we have 80 pickers, a lot more of those 42-38, closer picks there. So should be good. Last week, though, let's talk about it a little bit. It was a rough, interesting week in the pick'em, but there was some good games. Game 1 was Jefferson over Atlanta, 49-29. Not really surprising. We talked about we think Jefferson's the class of this district, and the way it stands at this time is them and Tatum at the top. I think that game will probably be. I think at this point, I think Atlanta's probably the third best team, and I think Tatum and Jefferson would be for the district championship. Now the question is, can Tatum stop Jefferson? We know Tatum can score, so I think we'll see how good a game it is. But I think that's where we're looking. I'm not really surprised by this score. Anybody surprised at this margin?
No, I mean, I kind of expected this from Jefferson. We talked about it earlier in the year. We thought Atlanta everybody was high on Atlanta. Well, I say everybody, I wasn't, but Jeremy specifically was high on Atlanta earlier in the year, and he kind of started, getting me to where I was starting to believe in them. And then they just haven't had a good year this year. But Jefferson, talk about balance. How about 254 yards through the air and 251 on the ground? Can't get much more balanced than that. So I like Jefferson in this district. I'm with you. I think it comes down to Jefferson Tatum, but I don't think Tatum's going to be able to stop Jefferson. So yeah, I think it's those are 1 and 2. Atlanta's probably solid in at 3, and then with Gladewater getting the win over Sabine, they kind of control their own destiny for that 4th spot, which is crazy. Starting out 0-6, and they can still make the playoffs. If they lose
to White Oak, they don't deserve to make the playoffs.
Oh Lord,
I don't think White Oak's winning the game.
Deserves it.
I don't think White Oak's winning the game.
It's about who wins it. Nobody picked Gladewater. Nobody. If you pick Gladewater, you just guessing.
Actually,
I almost did, Corey. I almost did. I was this close.
Gladewater. But shout out to Gladewater though. They came out. They swung it, and they brought the wood to Sabine, man. Sabine was a fake bully of the week.
Well, I hate to tell y'all this, and by the way, Sweeney, like when you literally, right when you were about to say Jefferson, I literally wrote down like on my, notebook, Jefferson playoff run, ? Can they make it to the state championship game? But no, no.
I'm not. They may be the only team that wins a game in the playoffs, though, of the district they're going up against. We talked about that a little bit. That it's possible that Jefferson's the only team that comes out of this district with a win.
So the problem that I'm not surprised by that score last week, but the problem that I have with Tatum, and by the way, Jefferson and Tatum played the last. Have they already played, or is that the last game?
No, they play October 27th, I believe.
Okay, that's next week, right?
Yeah, next week, yeah.
Okay, so the problem that I have with Tatum is that in those big games, and I think this has happened the past couple of years, but in those big games, they just can't make big plays on defense. It's always some good offensive team that's able to like snap them out of the playoffs. Always, that's I don't know who it is, but they cannot make the big plays when they need to, and that's going to be the problem for Tatum. I see Jefferson probably winning this district. Who knows? Jefferson may blow Tatum out. Tatum gives up so many big plays. You just gotta wonder, like, hey, can they really hang with these dudes? I don't think they can. So I'm picking Jefferson probably win this district. But I literally just wrote down, their playoff run. Can they possibly make the state championship? Which me and Kyle have already agreed, absolutely not.
They got Malakoff and Winsboro in that same region.
Yeah, no.
So, no, thank you.
No, and they'll probably meet Malakoff in the 3rd round. Probably. That's if they don't have to play Winsboro first. If they have to play them first, and that's they
won't play Winsboro first because Winsboro is going to win that District 5, and then Jefferson wins District 6. They may meet down the road. They won't play first round though. But Jefferson has a good squad. Don't get me wrong, but that region, we've talked about that region. That 3A Division I Region 2 is a monster.
It's
so
ridiculous.
whoever comes out of Region 2 is winning state.
You still have Pottsboro that's really good. Winsboro put it to them, but that was Winsboro. Pottsboro's going to go several rounds probably. You've got Malakoff, Winsboro,
Whitesboro. All the boroughs are in that region.
Not Brownsboro.
Not Brownsboro.
No.
But yeah, I think this is an interesting district, though. We thought it was a lot stronger, I think, coming into the year, and it's just kind of hasn't played out that way. Corey, any thoughts on this game? You good? All right. Game 2 was the one we just kind of talked about. Gladewater 48, Sabine 42. We actually had 3 people that picked Gladewater to win this game, so that was a good way to gain some spots. We had let's see, Wes, Austin, and Augustin all picked Gladewater. So 3 out of however many we had.
Gladewater. Got to be from Gladewater, and there was no way I wouldn't pick. Like Sabine's been trucking it all year, but like I said, good win for Gladewater. That's just a good win for Gladewater.
Well, we kind of talked about, man. We kind of talked about it though, Corey. That the schedule Gladewater played was a lot tougher, and I guess it played in their favor there as they were able to take that game over Sabine. I thought Sabine was going to win too, but shout out to Gladewater.
Well, that was my point last week when we were doing the pick'ems. I know I didn't pick Gladewater, but I was close because I remember saying they're not your normal 0-6 team. Like Gladewater has played a tough non-district schedule. They're not your normal 0-6 team. I think they play an easier non-district schedule, then we got a different story on our hands. But I don't think Gladewater is a bad football team necessarily. Dude, they ran for 538 yards. 3 running backs had over 100. 1 had over 200. They ran the ball down Sabine's throat. And if you can run the ball like that this late in the season, you're not a bad football team. So I think that record is kind of deceiving for Gladewater. I don't think they're world beaters by any means, but I do think they're better than their record shows.
Well, I think they've even through their losses, I think they've been consistent, especially offensively. It's just, they've played such a tough schedule. I think their defense is kind of used to playing a harder schedule. Now we don't know what that means come playoff time, because I think Gladewater is still probably going to make the playoffs. Simply because they've had a tough non-district. But we don't know what that means going forward for them. It was a great win. It was spectacular. I think that they showed up and showed out. But we don't know what they are when it comes to playoffs. But I will tell you this though, they will go past the second round in my opinion.
Not a chance.
No,
not a chance.
Winsboro,
if they get the 4 seed out of 6, they're playing Winsboro in the first round. They're one and done.
So they probably no.
They're not getting there. Yeah.
Because that game.
Hey, Cal, you didn't let that breathe.
that game is probably if they get the 4th spot, that's going to be a blowout. It's not even going to be fair.
Yeah.
They play.
And then you got Pottsboro's number 2, so they're going to get probably Atlanta. That game probably won't be close either.
Now, y'all know this district went 0-4 in the playoffs last year.
Wow.
This district be big. I mean, Jefferson's pretty good though.
Jefferson's pretty good. I don't ever count out Tatum either, so they'll compete.
As long as Cameron Williams is healthy, I'll give Jefferson a fair chance to get some 4 seed, because I think Jefferson's gonna win this district. But last year this district went 0-4. It's not a very good district.
No, it's a weak district.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be a surprise to see any of these teams. Like I said, if they repeated what they did last year and go 0-4.
10 years ago, it would have been a great district.
Yeah.
Almost 12, it would have been a great district. But now it's just ain't the same. Now I look at the records and stuff. I don't really, to be honest with you, Gladewater didn't play that big of a schedule. There ain't a big difference between the schedule between Gladewater and Sabine, to be honest with you. They played pretty much the same opponents.
Malakoff and Gunner?
And they both played well. They played with. They played Mount Vernon and Spring Hill.
They
both
played
played
Blackwater had
Dangerfield.
Malakoff and Gunner and Dangerfield.
You know,
That's pretty good.
and then what West Russ, Sabine played West Russ, and and Pot. So I mean, it's a little. Basically, what I'm saying is this: somebody's schedule was a 7, the other schedule was a 6. Wasn't that big of a difference to me. To me, it wasn't that big of a difference. What I'm saying is this: I think Sabine could have had an opportunity to win the game. I'm surprised Gladewater did. Gladewater's 1-1. Sabine's 0-2. I wouldn't call their schedule that big of a difference to me. I just think Gladewater's playing better at the right time, and I think they may have just started clicking and putting it together. You know, that to me is more plausible than their schedules being tougher than Sabine's schedule. I just think they started playing better at the right time.
But my problem with that, Corey, is I think looking at the schedule, I think Gladewater has 3 opponents that are better than anybody on Sabine's schedule. That would be I mean, West Rusk is their only opponent. Mount Vernon is not as good this year. West Rusk is pretty good, but I mean, Dangerfield and Malakoff and Gunter all are better than West Rusk, I think.
I think the biggest problem with Gladewater is the defense. I mean, you look at 53 points, 42 points, 35 points, 51 points, 59 points, 41 points, and then the one game they won, they gave up 42 points. I mean, we talking about a team that's giving up way too many points all year long. Like, there's no way you can think that this is going to be a sufficient team and think that it's – I mean, they could win. They could get 4th place in district, but, I mean, they've been playing terrible defense all year long. So, I don't – you can't really just buy anything in the Gladewater. And, I mean –
And I think just in 3A, they've given up the most points in the East Texas area, just in 3A. I think they've given up the most points.
That's a good point, Eddie. You can't score 23 and give up 46. That's not going to get you very far.
Not quite, huh? Can't win with a -23 ratio, huh?
Not too many times.
Right now, Gladewater kind of looks like Colorado a little bit. Good offensive team, just can't play defense.
I don't think anybody's buying that one.
Well, Colorado can't play defense. I mean, they just can't.
No, I'm with you.
Colorado can play defense. They just can't stop the big play.
Since we're talking about Gladewater getting 4th here, let's talk about their possible opponent in the first round. Game 3 is Winsboro and Pottsboro. Winsboro took Pottsboro to the whipping shed. Spence, did you pick? We didn't get a chance to ask you. How many did you get right this week?
I don't know. I don't even remember because I lost the 2 biggest ones that I talked the most about. I lost those, so I didn't carry up with the rest of them.
That's not a good sign if you don't remember. That means you probably didn't do very well.
No, I mean, I know I picked Winsboro. I didn't think Pottsboro would beat them. I thought this was a revenge game. I know they lost last year. I know they were going to want their lick back from the year before. Plus, I think Winsboro is a lot better this year than they were last year. I think the biggest difference between last year and this year is that they're willing to run the ball a whole lot more than they were probably last year, especially like the quarterback. I think it was more so about keeping Kyler healthy throughout the year. But when you see him run for 191 yards, I mean, you can tell like they're throwing everything at him. And of course, the running back had over 200 too. So they kind of really beat Pottsboro up and ran the ball all over him. I did pick, like I said, I did like Winsboro going into the game, more so because I'm a Kyler Finney fanboy. Like, I think he's really, 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 really good. But no, I was really happy with the results. I was happy for Winsboro. And like I said, I'm not really invested in him, but I think Kyler Finney's a great player, and I would love to see him put a playoff run together to kind of back up what I've been saying about him being the best Q in East Texas to me. So, I thought it was a really, really good win, a statement win for Winsboro, and hopefully they can stay healthy over the next couple of weeks and put a playoff run together.
Yeah, that's my thing about Winsboro. Kyler Finney is outstanding. That offense is great, and the defense has been playing well. Pottsboro's got a good offense too. Major McBride went off, had over nearly 230 yards rushing for Pottsboro. He's a hell of a player too. But Winsboro, I feel like, and I've said this all year long, I feel like Winsboro, like this is their year. I feel like, each year it's been, either a 1-point loss to Pottsboro to just barely miss the playoffs, or a couple seasons ago, there's like 3 or 4 losses where by a combined like 6 or 7 points. Like they've just been on the edge the past couple of years. And I think this is the year they finally get it all together. But just like we talked about, looming in the playoffs at some point, round 3, round 4, round 2, whatever it is, that Winsboro-Malakoff, they're going to collide. And that'll be Winsboro's toughest test all season long. I think, truthfully, the winner of that Winsboro-Malakoff game could be in Arlington. So it'll be fun to see how that happens. I don't think Winsboro has Winsboro. The only caveat this week with Mineola is that it's a rivalry game, but I don't see anything happening in that game. I think Winsboro cruises to an undefeated season, and then we'll just wait to see what happens when they play Malakoff.
Yeah.
So
I think
Winsboro.
So, question for all you guys. Personally, do you guys think that Winsboro can beat Malakoff?
Yeah.
Do they have the team?
They have the team that can they? Yes.
Can they?
Absolutely.
Yeah, they can.
I'm gonna agree with y'all on this one. I'm gonna say they do have the team, and I'm gonna be honest with you, Kyle. I agree. Whoever wins out of Winsboro and Malakoff, if they do collide at some point, going to Arlington. Now, who would they play on the other side of the bracket? We don't know, but I could see that happening. I could see them beating Malakoff. I expect them to come out of that region. I really do. I really expect them to come out of that region, especially with their offense is really, really good. And I just think that if they were to meet, I think their offense would be too much for Malakoff now that hasn't stopped Malakoff before.
Would that be a semifinal matchup with possibly Brock?
Oh.
Because
what region is Brock in?
Brock's region 1. They're region 2. Wouldn't they match up?
Yeah, they'll have to match
that
up.
Would be a
place too.
Man.
I mean,
that's gonna be a good one.
Can they beat Malakoff?
Corey's rolling with the cough.
I mean, Malakoff plays incredible D. They have for a long time.
You're right.
And they're really physical. And that's perfect for playoff. I really like the quarterback, Mike Jones. Mike Jones. Yeah. But no, I really think we're talking about a program that's established and a program that's on the rise. And so it's going to be really hard to just go in there and lay your hat and put your money on Winsboro. But can they beat them? Yeah, they absolutely can. I think they can. Now, will it happen? We'll find out together. But I don't think anybody will beat Winsboro before they get to that point in round 3. That's for sure.
No, yeah, that Winsboro is going to cruise to Malakoff, and it's a tale of two different strengths. And I know we'll talk about this game a little later, but it's the same thing with Center and Van when they played last week. Yeah. Center, high-powered offense. Van, strong defense. Same thing, Winsboro, high-powered offense. Malakoff, shutdown defense. There'll be a lot of eyes on that game, but both teams need to I feel like they will, but both teams need to take care of business to get to that point. I feel like they should, but it's high school football. As we saw this last weekend, anything can happen. So.
I will say this, that's going to be a good game. Whoever meets Brock, that's going to be a good one.
I don't know. Brock held Pleasant Grove to 10 points. I'm not putting nobody over Brock right now.
Yeah, that's tough. We all know Pleasant Grove is good. Yeah. That is impressive. Game 4, the game I went and called in Dallas. Brook Hill put that 0 up on Dallas Covenant, 36-0 in their opening play in district. Guys, I don't know if you've ever been to Dallas Covenant Stadium or seen it driving by on 635. It is very interesting. I took a picture. I took a picture from the press box and shared it with the guys in the chat. And it's basically if you were to sightseeing on 635. If you were to look at the stadium on the visitor side, it's a old school, like if you were at Lindsay Park at the bleachers, like you'd see just sitting on the side of the soccer fields. That's what the bleachers were like on the visitor side. There was like several of them, and then if you fell over the wall there, like that was basically right behind you, you're on the service road of 635. So on the stream, you could just see cars just like going by the entire game. It was interesting. Now they have a nice facility. It's one of those landlocked places where they've got basically they've got to go up with everything. There was nice press box for the size stadium. We had everything we needed. It was great. And Brook Hill's defense showed out. Corey, you always love those 0 shutouts. I mean, you got to catch a little bit of this game? Coach Hubbard and company, they were impressive on D.
They've been impressive all week. I've been impressive all year, pretty much. They've gotten better and better and better. But they got a test this week, so we're gonna see.
Yeah, they got number 1 Dallas Christian coming into their house, and Dallas Christian is one of those. They play everybody 6A, 5A, any of the private schools. Their schedule is pretty much wide open, and we'll have that game on NETSN. But it's going to be a test. I think if Brook Hill plays, their defense is going to be there. If their offense can score enough points to stay with Dallas Christian, should be interesting. I expect them to at least make the game, a competitive game for at least a little bit. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be tough. I'd like to hear what Coach Hubbard has to say, but he hasn't been able to get here on here with us yet. So if he does, maybe we'll let him talk about that game last week and the game coming up. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one here. Game 5, Lindale over Chapel Hill, 35-23.
Oh God,
Guys, I'm still celebrating. I've got Clint Thurman behind me, and he's still celebrating here at Lindale Stadium for the game. Then I gotta tip my hat to the Lindale Eagles. Coach Cochran and his staff had a great game plan. Their game plan was basically to take the ball out of Chapel Hill's offense and make the Chapel Hill defense stop the run game, and they were able to make enough turnovers, enough stops to get the job done. I'm really surprised, and the score I think was like 35-10. I think Chapel Hill scored the last couple of touchdowns, so it was a pretty big margin there, and just totally surprised. I mean, I thought Lindale would give them a tough test because they always are tough in Lindale. Chapel Hill has a tough time over there, but I just didn't expect this.
Well, listen, I called the game, and we were me and Keith with me. We were on the call for the game, and I got a lot. I put it in the chat. I got a lot of words to say about this game, so y'all bear with me. So listen, Chapel Hill. Here's basically what Lindale did was they were like, okay, we're gonna tire y'all out. Okay, we're gonna take time off the clock. We got a quarterback who used to play running back, so we're just gonna run the ball with him all night long. And this is the one thing that I said a couple of weeks ago. I said, because everybody was like, oh, their starting running back was out. He got hurt. I think he got hurt against Kilgore. And I said, well, they do have another running back named Caleb Hart. Caleb Hart basically was like their bulldozer that whole night. They absolutely just consistently ran the ball every time. It's like they never missed a beat. It was always on. It was just consistent. And when you have Clint Thurman, who and I actually got it right here. Clint Thurman ran for 307 yards. 307. Ran 307 yards. And the fact that Chapel Hill's defense was not even able to contain this guy. Like, I interviewed him and Coach Cochran after the game. And he basically said, and I'm going to be honest with you. He basically said Chapel Hill wasn't ready for us. Now, obviously, me being from Chapel Hill, did that make me mad?
Now.
Yes. Yeah. Did that make me mad? Yeah. Did that make me mad? Yes.
Hold on,
But
wait. That's disrespectful
I mean,
for saying
listen,
they're not ready.
Lindell has. No,
I
I'm just
mean, he had
saying,
every
like
right to say
you
it.
won. You won, yeah. I'm just saying, don't be disrespectful.
I don't think that's
Disrespectful.
disrespectful. You're
But
the
I
number
mean,
one
he had
team in the
every right.
state, and we just got beat by 40 something points. You wasn't
More
ready.
than 40.
It wasn't
40.
40.
But
The
69 to
game.
24.
I'm
What is
saying
it?
this. I'm
64-29.
Oh, 64-29. My bad.
They got
Yeah.
whooped by. They got wiped off the face of the earth by Kilgore, and then they come back and beat the number one team in the state, Chapel Hill. And this is the other problem. What Chapel Hill didn't do all night, if you notice, if you go back and watch the whole game, you know what they didn't do? They didn't fill the egg gap at all. They didn't fill the egg gap at all. And if they did, all they did was just basically Clint Thurman was able just to find a little hole, bust up the hole, get through. He had a 80-something yard run where Davion Ross tracked him down, and Chapel Hill was tired all night. They could not do anything. And really, when you look at it, Chapel Hill only had maybe 3 or 4 good plays. Ricky Stewart had a 90-yarder, then he had a 70-yarder. These were touchdowns that I'm talking about. And then they had 2 throws that were good. But other than that, that's all they had all night. So, and when was the last time you seen Ricky Stewart fumble the ball?
a lot.
When was the last time? He fumbled the ball. I think oh, yeah. Well, that too. But I'm just saying, in a high-stakes game like that, where you need to score, I don't think I've ever seen him fumble like that. So that was hard to watch. Chapel Hill's gonna have to rebound this year because rebound this week because right now I think if Lindell wins out plus a Kilgore loss, they win the district. And
Well, we can talk about that because I think right now, if Chapel Hill wins against Kilgore at the end and it's 3-way tie, I believe the point differential between the 3 teams is the tiebreaker. Okay, so right now, Kilgore's got plus what 35.
Well, it's only 15. They get up to 15.
Oh, so you can only get 15.
Now you can only get 15. So that's the most that you can get.
So they're at plus 15. Lindell by 12, lost by the 15, so they're at -3. So they're Lindell's done, so they're a negative. So Chapel Hill would need to win by a couple touchdowns, and they would win the district, basically. So it's still either any of the teams can win depending on how the game goes. I think Lindell's probably, since they have that would be tough for them since they're in the negative. Because if Chapel Hill wins, they would have to win by not enough and then beat Kilgore. That'd be crazy. So it's many points. It kind of come down to it. But then Chapel Hill still has to win. And right now, that game's up in the air more than we thought it was going to be. I mean, I really thought that Chapel Hill, if they come to play, I think they beat Kilgore. But they can't do this. They can't let their defense sit out there all night. Which Kilgore has got the film now. They got two good films. Palestine did the same thing. They just didn't have the same push on the offensive line. Chapel Hill was able to get them off the field a little bit better. But you got 2 game films now on them. I'd hate to be Henderson this week.
Okay,
I'd hate to be Henderson this week because Henderson.
You'd have to hate to be Henderson every week.
But yeah,
it ain't just this week.
This week for sure. But do you think those Chapel Hill guys aren't going to be fired up? If they're not fired up after what happened last week, man. Well,
I'll
your
say
dad.
back.
So here's the issue.
He's with Corey. He's with Corey.
Here's the issue with this. I said it last week, and I said this is a trap game for Chapel Hill either way. Either Lindell was going to be Kilgore, or they were going to beat Chapel Hill. They beat Chapel Hill. Got you. It was a trap game. Chapel Hill didn't come prepared. They've been playing sluggish ever since the bye week. If you didn't know, they have been. They've been playing sluggish ever since the Palestine game. So they needed to get this loss out of the way. It was going to happen. Either happen now, it was going to happen in the playoffs. Got it. And what do? right? You regroup. Okay. Now, before this loss, I'll probably say, well, probably Kilgore matched up. Yeah, okay, maybe Kilgore. I don't think Kilgore beats Chapel Hill. I really don't. I think this loss needed to happen. I think Chapel Hill regroups. Doesn't matter who wins district at this point. Chapel Hill, whoever's in this district better than the district, Chapel Hill's got to play anyway. 1 through 4, it doesn't matter. They're gonna beat the district championship in that district anyway. So it doesn't matter. It's gonna be a competition, but they're not gonna have to play anybody until they have to either face Kilgore or Lindale again. So it ain't gonna matter. That's why I said whoever was talking noise, they be humble. You may have to play Chapel Hill again in a neutral site. Be humble. You had them before. You may not be able to beat them again.
I don't think it's necessarily disrespectful to say that a team is not ready to play.
No, I mean, just say we happy to get a win, blah, blah, blah. I like the fact that you're going to be disrespectful a little bit. It's a little disrespect. I don't want to say
I just don't see it as disrespect if you're telling the truth. I mean, and the biggest thing about it, Clint Thurman.
Sometimes the truth is disrespectful. Look at whatchamacallit. But I mean, either way it goes, I want to be on. But it's okay. Either way it goes, the kid said what he said. It happens. You beat Chapel, he beat the number 1 team in the state. Man,
I think that's unfair if you put it on the kid. Like, are we talking about the coach or are we talking about the kid?
We're talking about Clint Thurman.
I mean, the kid is rolling off an emotional high. He just ran for 300 yards in a game where nobody thought he would win. He don't know what he's saying.
I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm not saying just because you say something disrespectful, you're wrong. I'm saying disrespect is disrespect, whether it's right or wrong. It is what it is.
What's disrespectful is leaving your offense on the sideline and letting these boys run for like damn near 500 yards on you. That's disrespectful to your
It's very disrespectful.
I think the most
I always do is like this. You take that on the chin.
The most impressive thing to me about Lindale's victory is that there was one big 70-yard run, but Clint Thurman averaged 6 yards a pop. Not 10 yards a pop, not 11 yards a pop, but 6. And 6 means I'm taking the time off of the clock. I'm keeping you guys off the field, and you can't stop it. You can't.
And here's the other thing. There's 12 minutes each quarter. There's 12 minutes each quarter. Yeah. The first quarter, the first and kind of the third a little bit, they ran off literally almost all the time that quarter had to, like, literally.
It's a great strategy.
It was
That's
that
what I thought they were going to do against Kilgore. Well, I picked them, and then I was a week early.
Keep Chapel Hill's offense off the field, that high-powered offense that everybody, like, I think Chapel Hill is the best offense in 4 Division I. I think they do, but to do that to them is very impressive. Like I said, like Sweeney said, I wouldn't want to be Henderson this week either, because I think Chapel Hill personally, I think they could put up 60 on them.
These next 3 games, I wouldn't want to be Chapel Hill's opponents next year. If I'm in that locker room, if they do what they're supposed to do, I wouldn't want to be their opponent these next 3 games.
Well,
if they do what they're supposed to do.
And here's the deal, like, guys. So you get there and you work the clock and you have a 10-minute drive, okay? So then your offense goes on the field. Well, they're quick strike. You score quick sometimes. That's not as good.
Defense right back on the field.
Right back on the field, and they're dead tired still.
You ain't even had time to coach you up.
And so then they have to go right back out there. I've seen it. Chapel do it. I saw a couple of plays in the game where they just, boom, quick strike, and the offense had to go, or defense had to go right back out. Well, now they haven't even recovered, hadn't got a chance to make any adjustments or anything like that. They got to go back out there.
It's been like that all season.
Here's a question for y'all, because y'all watch Chapel Hill way more than I do. Yeah. How confident are you in Brisbane throwing the ball to win a game? Without Deuce McGregor,
3 years ago, 2 years
without
ago.
Deuce McGregor, without Tyson Berry. I mean, Mayfield's good, and
Kelly,
Darius Dean. I like him. I like Dean. I like Mayfield.
Kelly.
I like the tall guy. But how confident are you in Brisbane in throwing the football if the game is on the line?
I think it can happen. It can happen.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just wondering how confident y'all are.
I mean, he had to do it. I mean, he had to do it against Lumberton
this
last year. Oh, this year.
This year, I'm more confident this year than I've ever been.
Okay.
I'm more confident this year than I've ever been. Will it Will it happen? That's a very good question because that's exactly what it's going to take. He's got to pick that throw.
I feel like they should have thrown the ball more against Lindale. The problem was that
did you have an opportunity?
I don't think there was anywhere to really throw. I mean, they played. Basically, they just took everything away from Chapel. They just I don't know what they did to do what they did Friday is impressive. But I wouldn't want to be. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be Chapel's opponents these next few games, especially Athens.
It's a simple strategy, though. It's a simple strategy. If you know they can't beat you running the football to get back in the game. They're down by 21 points. They got to throw the football. They have to. So what you gonna do? You gonna back it? You be in the prevent? Of course, I'm going to force that quarterback to throw the football.
Like
now they have to air it.
Like they had a 40-yard pass to Javen Mayfield, and then they hit him on a 3 to 5 yard stop route, and then he took it for 50 for a touchdown. But
you know how you get them out of that prevent? You got to get a stop on defense.
Yeah.
You have to get a stop on defense, and you have to get the ball back. That's how you get them out of there.
Kyle, Kilgore or Chapel Hill, based off this Friday's performance, I think the difference is in the line of scrimmage, and I think Kilgore is way better in the line of scrimmage. Based off what I saw or the results that I read about on Friday. But I want to ask you, like, what do you think about, the potential district championship? Who you like, Chapel Hill or Kilgore?
Right now, I'm going to have to go with Kilgore. It's just to touch on the Lindale Chapel Hill game. I was letting y'all get all that out. As everybody knows, I'm a Lindale guy. I'm from Lindale. I may be wearing a Van hat, but that's for later in the show. Listen, I think we got to give credit to Lindale because here's the thing. I know it's a lot of talk about Chapel Hill right now, which is understandable, but I think we're overlooking exactly what Lindale did here. You got to think Coach Cochran and the boys got embarrassed against Kilgore the week before. Then to come out at home, top team in the state, a team that they've had success against in the past few years, like the note said in the chat, 4 of the past 5 meetings, Lindale's won against Chapel Hill. So it shouldn't be too much of a surprise, really. But the way that Lindale, they came in with the game plan. The game plan was keep the offense off the field. You can't score if you ain't got the football. So to keep the offense off the field, that was number one. They can do that with the offensive line that Lindale has and the running attack that Lindale has. They have the capability to do that. They tried that against Kilgore. Problem is, Kilgore's got a stout defense that was able to get off the field on what's up, Vince? To get off the field on third down and to stall out those drives. Chapel Hill's defense isn't that strong. They couldn't do that. So that's the problem that you run into. And then when you have limited offensive snaps, you're now pressing as an offense because now you're like, well, man, we may only get 3 or 4 plays out of this. And that's it. Then we got to sit on the sidelines for 6 or 7 more minutes while our defense gets torn up. So Lindale had a perfect game plan, executed it to perfection. I think this says more about Lindale, I think, than Chapel Hill. I think I said the different thing earlier in the week, but I've changed my tune because it says more about Lindale for those kids to come out and refocus after a week where they got embarrassed, to come out at home in front of your home crowd where nobody expects you to win and to go out there and prove everybody wrong. And so I think just on this past game, Lindale did what they needed to do out there. And for as much as we talked about Lindale's defense, to hold Chapel Hill to 10 points until the fourth quarter, that's outstanding. So
we talked about how much they
in a quarter, in 14 minutes.
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
We talked about it.
That's part of being part of protecting your defense is keeping them off the field.
Exactly.
So,
and it really showed. But as far as Kilgore Chapel Hill goes, right now, the way that both teams are playing, I think Kilgore's defense is better than Lindale's. And I think Kilgore has the best defense in that district, and defense will win you championships. So as far as the district title, I think Kilgore is the favorite right now.
Here's the thing: a lot of people right now think that Kilgore has a top 3 defense in Division I, right as of right now.
All right,
they do. They do.
They do.
Fly around.
Their defense is better than what it was last year, in my opinion, because they just have some dogs on there. Literally I think maybe about 4 or 5 guys could have some offers on that team, on that defense. Like literally, they are just that good this year. And the other thing that y'all left out, their running game. The running game is off the charts. So that'll be a concern for Chapel Hill too.
It's about time, Eddie. It's
That's funny.
about time.
That's funny, Eddie.
So
I don't even know the history, but that's funny, Eddie.
So I think we kind of talked about it a little bit, Kyle, to your point about the defense. But take out the Kilgore game, throw that one out. In the other 3 previous games in district play, they held 7-7, and then the 23 at Chapel Hill, I'd say, is a really good performance. If you're limiting Chapel Hill, who's scoring 50 points a game, to 23, you'd be happy with that, right? So I think, and in Lindell's defense, I think there was a few things that went right for them. They played an excellent game plan, excellent scheme. They kept Chapel Hill's offense off the field. Their defense did enough. Didn't have to do. They don't have to be Kilgore's defense. They did enough to slow down Chapel Hill enough to get extra possessions. And 3, they had some things that went their way. They had the fumbles from Chapel Hill, and they just didn't
defense
play
cause.
right.
Yeah.
The defense caused, but things went their way. When you beat a number 1 team and let's be honest, the skill level in Chapel Hill is better than Lindale. And if you look to the 2 teams, they're a better team. Chapel Hill is going to win probably most of those times. But if you can catch them on a night where they're not playing well and you have a prepared scheme, a prepared game plan, and things that you worked on work in your favor, it's a good night for you. And that's kind of what I saw in this game is I think Lindale did exactly what they needed to do to have a chance to win. And the fact that Chapel didn't play up to their potential, which you're never going to play your A game every single week. And they didn't. And that's what happens. And that's where upsets happen.
I think the problem I'm having with this conversation is it seems like we're discounting Lindale, like they're not a good team. Like Lindale is a good football team. That Kilgore game,
discounting Lindale at all.
When you look at the Kilgore game, that game was close in the first half, and Lindale went for it on 4th down in their own territory, didn't get it, and that's where that game changed. Also, 2 kickoff returns for a touchdowns by Kilgore. That's not on the defense. So, I mean,
Right.
Lindale's not a bad team. They've been in all these games this year.
Nobody said they were a bad team.
But the way it's being presented is that
Going into the game, I thought
lost the game. Lindale didn't win the game, and I think that's
Lindale beat Chapel Hill. Lindale beat Chapel Hill fair and square. They out schemed us, outplayed us, out hustled us, everything in the game.
Yeah.
They beat Chapel Hill fair and square. They took it to them. Buckle the chin strap. Chapel Hill didn't have it that day.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm going to be honest with you, Kyle. I had Lindale getting the 4th seed at the end of the year. Literally, I had him getting the 4th seed, probably losing in the 2nd round, and then that would be it. But one more question, Spence. Let's just say this. Let's say that it's going to be Chapel Hill, Kilgore, maybe 3rd round or 4th. Out of all, do you think out of the 2? Let's forget about Lindale a little bit. We know they beat Chapel. Let's forget about Lindale a little bit. Out of the 2, who do you think that can go to the state championship as of right now?
Between Chapel Hill and Kilgore?
After Friday.
I mean, I would say Kilgore would have the best chance because I think Kilgore plays better defense. I mean, you can't give up 310 rushing yards and think that I think you're gonna make it to the state championship game. I mean, it's the same thing that happened with Bernie. Bernie did the same thing to him, beat him up right up the middle, kept the offense off the field, and then Bernie really kind of beat him up on the offensive line, on the defensive line too last year in that 5th round game. It's gonna come down to who can be the most physical, and I think, right now you got to lean towards Kilgore based off of what just happened Friday. That, and I don't think they've really replaced Kevian Huddleston on either side of the ball yet. And I'm just not sold on the interior of their offensive line and the interior of their defensive line. I know Kendall Allen's a great player. I know Davion Ross, the linebacker, is a great player. Terrence Brooks is a great player. But who's in the middle of that defense? Who's clogging that gap? And you can see it in these comments, but who's really truly in the middle of that defense really doing something for Chapel Hill to make you feel confident enough that they can go in and stop somebody that's physically dominant? And so I'd have to go with Kilgore right now, only because, for one, Kilgore dominated Linda. No matter how it got out, it was a domination at the end of the game. And I think out of those two, you have to say Kilgore. I don't think you can watch what happened Friday. And I've always been kind of shaky on Brisbane's passing. I never thought he was just the best passer in the world. I think he's an electric playmaker. I think he can do some electric things, scramble around, finding open receivers, and I think that's has his play into it. But I think if Chapel Hill has to drop back and throw the ball because they can't move it, or if they are again, if they're coming down to they need big scores and they need to, I don't know. I think it's fair to say Kilgore right now, and I'll just have to go with Kilgore.
Right now, I will say this, and I'm last point. Chapel Hill, when you look at their defense right now, probably their biggest problem right now is that they have one linebacker sitting in the box. He has to defend both A gap and B gap, and it's impossible. It's looking what we saw Friday. It was pretty bad.
There's a reason why it's one linebacker in the box, though, right? I mean, they're spreading people out, making you cover people in space, and then there's still that same old 3-yard, 4-yard in the cloud of dust type of offense. But when you spread people out, now I've got to respect the outside. I got to leave this one guy in here. If I don't, then I'm outnumbered on the outside. I don't want to do that. I have to play sound football. I have to play sound defense. So, I mean, maybe they need to figure out a different scheme. Maybe they need to go to an odd front. Maybe they need to, figure out, how to way to clog in those A gaps. But, I mean, that's all Chapel did. 5-6 yards out. Linda did 5-6 yards out.
It's definitely going to make for an interesting Week 11 matchup. I have a feeling that will be on our pick'ems Week 11. So we'll see what happens till then. Until then, we'll just have to see. I'm assuming both teams will take care of business, and then we'll have a district championship for possible 3-way tie up for grabs Week 11. So that'll be interesting. All right. Good discussion, guys. Game 6, McKinney North over Lufkin, 46-39. Spence, I'm going to defer this one to you. It's your district here. Any surprise on this score in this one?
Surprise, yeah. I didn't think they would score that many on Lufkin. That's backwards. I didn't think Lufkin would score as much as they did. This game was 25-25 at halftime, or somewhere close. Like at halftime, they were going back and forth, and that was a surprise to me because I didn't think Lufkin was that good offensively. I know Keidron Young, the Notre Dame commit, is amazing, and he had an amazing 81-yard run there right before halftime. But I thought McKinney North was I just expected them to play defense a little bit better than what they did. Because I just didn't expect that out of them to have such a high scoring game. Lufkin just kind of ran out of bullets at the end, and that's pretty much what happened to them. They just kind of ran out of bullets, fell behind. And McKinney North to me is this is a huge game coming up with us in Longview. And I don't want to speak too much about that, but to me, I was more so surprised that Lufkin scored as much as they did this past Friday.
That was the surprise to me too, Spence. The only time that I've seen Lufkin was against Longview, so maybe I have an unfair, opinion on Lufkin because I think Longview dominated that game, but I also think Lufkin didn't play very well that night too. So I kind of have a bad, outlook on it, but I was surprised to see Lufkin put up that many points. But it's also encouraging that Lufkin kept it close and was very competitive with a very good McKinney North team. I think that says a lot about Lufkin, and I've already made my pick on the Tyler Lufkin game this week, but I think that'll be a very good game this week. But I'm impressed with Lufkin.
Who you got?
I took Tyler High only because I was torn on it, but I took Tyler High because it's the 50-year anniversary of the 73 state championship for John Tyler. So
and you cannot lose
with
Earl Campbell in there.
You know what I mean? So, but I think Lufkin, they impressed me having the quarterback back, coming back from that concussion. I think he helps out a lot. I think Ty Hammond is his name, I believe. TJ Hammond. Yeah. So he helps out a lot having him healthy and back. So it'll be interesting to see what Lufkin can do. But I was impressed with Lufkin. It'll be a good loss if you wanna call it that.
Yeah, if you look at these district standings over here, I mean, we got Tyler's 2-2. I mean, it's a huge game. And I know I'm talking about this future game with Tyler and Lufkin. But Lufkin's 1-3. Lancaster is 1-3, and Tyler is 2-2. So, I mean, it's a huge game for Lufkin coming
The
up.
problem,
And
the
I
problem
think
for Tyler High Spence
but,
is their 2-2 is the two teams at the bottom that they beat. So they've got a tougher finish. We've kind of talked about it. They control their own destiny in some sorts, but they've got a tough destiny because they haven't faced Longview or Forney.
they got to come over here.
So it's going to be. This is basically we kind of labeled it's an elimination game. Whoever loses this, Tyler High Lufkin, they're pretty much out of the mix for the playoffs.
For sure, I agree with that.
I will say this. So I know we talked about this a little bit last week. So I picked McKinney North to win this one, and I picked them. just personally. I just picked them by a lot. I said they probably win by 2 touchdowns, maybe 3. But I think I was up around 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. I went back and watched that game, and I thought Lufkin was going to win it because I didn't know who won. I didn't know who won the game, but I thought Lufkin was going to win it. They had some shots. McKinney North. Like I said last week, I don't know what's wrong with their defense. I am not sold on their defense at all. I wasn't sold when Tyler High almost came back on them and almost finished the job. If it had not been for so many penalties against Tyler High, they probably would have lost. McKinney North would have lost that game. But for Lufkin to score 39 points on McKinney North, that says, I'm going to be honest with you, I know that says a lot about Lufkin, but that kind of says a lot about McKinney North because I think I was right in my assessment. McKinney North's defense is not what I thought it was going to be at the beginning of the year because I thought it was going to be fine. You know, I thought they were probably going to maybe try to give Forney a run for their money. But their defense is a problem. So yeah,
You talking about for second place?
Yeah, for second place, I thought they were going to give Forney a little run for their money, maybe, but
they haven't played yet.
Yeah, so I don't. Well, no, I don't. Yeah, but like I said, McKinney North's defense is becoming more clear to me now that they, even against a team that they should be by maybe 2 or 3 touchdowns, they can't get the job done. They can't get the job done. So I think Lufkin, even in a loss, I think Lufkin did really, really good. Now this week they have to beat Tyler High, otherwise they're done. They're done. They have to beat Tyler High. I don't think they will. So it was impressive, and I thought it was a pretty, even in a loss, I thought it was pretty good. So
I think McKinney North, the most points they've given up all year is 39 to Lufkin, and I think when you got a player that's as special as Keidron Young, sometimes you give up some points. I'm not going to say that the defense is just out of there. They held Lancaster to 21. Lancaster's got as many weapons on offense. They're the best 2 in whatever team in the nation. They're really, I don't understand their record at all, just how athletic they are and how good they are. But I don't know. I wouldn't just say that they're just totally awful on defense. You play a special talent and you commit that many people to the run, then your corner's going to have to be up on par. They really weren't. They were throwing deep balls on them and connecting deep with TJ Hammond during the game as well. Wasn't all Keidron Young, but that just kind of shows you how special of a talent Keidron Young is when you have to commit that many people to the run game. And we see it in Longview, right? Nobody thinks Andrew Tudd is the greatest quarterback ever. But when you commit 9 people to stopping the run, hey, we're 1-on-1 on outside. We're going to win a couple of them, right? So, I mean, it's the same thing with Lufkin. When you've got a back that's as special as Keidron Young is, and you have to commit 8, 9 people to trying to stop the run on every single play, people are going to beat you over the top. So I think that's more so of just like a Lufkin deal, and just a one case kind of deal. I'm not willing to say that they're bad, especially going in there and playing them in a couple of days. I don't think they're a bad defense. I think they got some pieces there. I just think when you got somebody that's special, it kind of leaves you to be open and vulnerable at certain spots.
Yeah, but my concern for McKinney North is that, like, say for example, me and Sweeney, we were at the Tyler High McKinney North game. At the end of that game, they gave up a lot of yards through the air. They did. They gave up a lot of yards through the air simply because they were playing 75 to 7 yards off the ball. They weren't really playing because, like, they would hit. I forgot 24's name for Tyler High, but they would hit him wide open on a stop route, and he would take it for another 5. So, no, that's. I just don't think that their secondary is what I thought it was going to be at the beginning of the year.
I mean, they were playing. They were playing not to lose a little bit in that second half. You know, they jumped out to that 14-0 lead on Tyler High, and kind of just kind of the time just ran out. I mean, they got really lucky, honestly, to get out of there with the win. Because I mean, if that game would have been a little bit longer, I think Tyler High might have had a chance. They got the first drive, they scored, got the onside kick, they scored 14-0, and Tyler High hadn't even stepped on the field to play offense yet. So I mean, after that, if you take those first 14 out, then Tyler High comes out with a win. I think that was what hurt them there. I think they didn't. When as a coach, you kind of relax and try to protect and play back, and that's what a lot of that did. Now the pick six changed everything for Tyler High. They kind of the momentum.
By Zakarian Williams, I think he caught it with one hand.
They played very safe, and it almost cost them.
Because they were like literally, it was, and sometimes it was too safe. I think that's why Coach Rashawn Woods was like, he was calm. I mean, he's calm all the time, when he's down in games like that. But as we've seen, this year, but no, they just, it's just like, you're gonna play 5 to 7 yards off the ball. Oh, I'm just gonna throw a 10-yard stop route. I'm just gonna throw this.
Did I miss the troop? Oh,
what's that?
The what?
Did I miss the troop and all?
No, we ain't got there yet.
No, we ain't got there.
We ain't got there yet. We ain't got there.
I thought I might have missed it. I was having some technical difficulties. I thought I might have missed it, man.
No, you missed. We talked Jefferson, Atlanta, and Gladewater Sabine the first couple. I don't know if you. Let's go to game 7, guys. We've Mount Pleasant keeps on trucking in that district with a 27-22 win over Nacogdoches. They've got a big game this week. It's one of our pick'em games, the White House Mount Pleasant game. That district now, we kind of originally at the beginning of the year, we kind of thought, okay, it's Texas High, then it's White House, then maybe it's a combination of Marshall, Nacogdoches, Pine Tree for 4, 5, and 6. And Mount Pleasant just slowly just keeps beating people and just moving on up. Now they're looking at third, and now they're going for second here if they can knock off White House. I wasn't surprised by it, honestly. I picked Mount Pleasant to win this game, but they played well so far. They've got some nice wins.
I like Mount Pleasant. I picked Mount Pleasant to make the playoffs earlier in the year. And that was before they even started district. So I've been on the Mount Pleasant bandwagon. I don't think they're going to beat White House this week, but I don't think they need to make the playoffs. But I think Mount Pleasant, look, that what's the quarterback? Mason McMinn, stud.
That dude is a dude.
Yeah,
stud.
He is a dude, man.
It's a grown man.
He's a dog out there. So when you got an athlete like that on your team, you have a chance to win any game. So I'm not going to count them out against White House because we've seen White House struggle a little bit, especially with teams that can put up some points. So I think this will be a good game Friday. But I'm not surprised that Mount Pleasant beat Nacogdoches. They don't, McMahon threw for 291 and had 2 tutties. So they don't light up the scoreboard, Mount Pleasant, but they play really good defense, and that'll keep them in games.
They're really physical.
Physical,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I think
Well,
the biggest thing, and that's what White House struggles with. White House does not like a physical football game. And the biggest thing is Josh Green playing, or is it the backup Jacob, whatever his name is? Because I think you need Josh Green in a game like this. And he didn't play last week against whoever White House played last week. They did not play Josh Green.
In Hallsville, they didn't need him.
Yeah, they didn't need him, but I don't know if that's an injury deal or if that's we're gonna rest the guy up. So I don't know.
Well, see, here's White House's output so far. They've put up 33, 51, 45, 52, 35, 57, 54. So it's going to be a battle of offense versus defense to me. I mean, if Mount Pleasant's defense can hold White House to low enough total that they can stay in the game, Mount Pleasant has a chance. If they can't, then and it's a shootout game, I think White House wins it.
Right.
Well, to be honest, and Kyle, I'm gonna disagree with you on this one. I think Mount Pleasant has to win this game. They're gonna have to win this game. I think that they need to win this game. Just who's number one? Texas High. Texas High is number one.
Texas High.
I think that they need to go ahead and just win this game, so they can literally say, "We're gonna put fear in the number one seed," like literally. So
they've already lost to the number one seed.
Lost
though.
to about 29.
Oh, okay. So well, just period. I think they need to solidify that. Okay, we've beaten White House. We got the second seed. Now we're here. So now y'all know who we are. It was an impressive win that they had over Nacogdoches. I thought it was good. Their offense just played well. They did a good job blocking, which is one of the things that I had said to one of my cousins, who's from that area. I said that Mount Pleasant needed to block up front, to win games. Their defense has been really phenomenal, especially the way they played against Marshall. So I think that this week is going to be a shootout. I had this game, when we first talked about it, I had this game probably maybe a 48-45 ball game. Now I don't know if it'll be that high, but it's gonna be fun to see. And I'm
gonna keep it a book with Mount Pleasant can't score that many points in a game. They're not gonna score into the 40s. So if they get into that high, they can't keep up with them. I'm gonna keep it a buck with Mount Pleasant that they can get a third seed. They need to feel happy about their season and go home, get ready to play basketball, because they don't have what it takes to make a deep playoff run. They don't have what it takes to compete with a team like Texas High. And they have a statement to prove in this week, but I think White House is going to do it to them. I really do. I don't think it's going to be close. They've been playing some close games with NAC and stuff like that. And I like Mason McMahon. Like I said, he's a dude. He is a dude, but this ain't a team that's can go 2 or 3 or 4 deep round in the playoffs. This team should be happy with a winning record, making the playoffs and beating the teams that they play, because it ain't looking great for Mount Pleasant as district. It ain't looking great for them. I mean, I don't think they're going to be White House.
Mount Pleasant.
Isn't that like the Melissa district that these guys match up against?
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So.
Oh, yeah. No. I mean, they'll be.
They got swept out of the playoffs last year. This district lost every game last year. I remember it was like 5A coverage. Longview's the only one left because everyone else lost out. So when we talked about the 5A, it was very short for playoffs. Just looking at the way this stands right now, you got Texas High and White House at 3-0, and you've got Mount Pleasant right there at 2-1, Marshall at 2-2, Longview at 1-2, NAC at 1-3, and Hallsville at 1.
Don't do it. Pine Tree. Make sure there's a difference between
Pine Tree. Yes.
Longview Pine Tree.
There we go. Get it out there, baby. Don't do that. Hey. Don't do it. It's 2 different schools, man.
And I also heard that they may be dropping, and we'll have a realignment show, but Longview Pine Tree might be dropping down the classification.
They need to, you know what they need to do? They need to replace Jacksonville in District 9. That's what they need to do. They need to drop.
That's about their level of competition. You're right. That's about the level of competition.
They need to drop. They need to go. Yeah, they beat Lindale.
In that district
So,
one day.
and hey, I was kind of talking about that early in the year. I was like, listen, Pontry can't do it in 5A, so they might as well just drop down to 4A, go against Chapel, go against Kilgore, get that out the way. You know,
can
do
it then.
that. Do
They're
that.
not gonna beat this.
There's
They could get third.
There's Eddie. That's
Do it then. 4 is even more dangerous.
Hmm.
Yeah, they could get. Country has been a big disappointment. I don't know if we're talking about them tonight, but they've been a big disappointment. I thought they were third district.
They let me down this year.
That's Corey's team, Spence. That's Corey's team.
I think
they
for
let me
3
down
years,
this year. They had a lot of promise.
Oh,
They had a lot
Corey,
of promise. They let me down, man.
I hate you like Pine Tree, man. I hate that for you.
I don't know if this is
I
true
just
or
say I
not,
like
but I
Pine Tree. They were competing. They were competing this year. I was giving them some knock because they ain't won nothing in decades. And I was like, they competing.
Hey,
I'm
they
giving
was
them a little promise. I like
getting beat by 6. They was getting by 6. All right.
Man.
It's a long thing. I got to get on there. I got to talk about Pine Tree every chance I get.
There's no problem. Y'all got to play John Tyler coming up, so I remember that.
Oh.
Wait, what? What were we saying? Hold on. What was that? I just want to put my ears to the camera, make sure I heard it right.
You're getting a little bold there, Corey.
Hey, bold is my middle name.
Let's go. Game 8. West Rusk 41, Grand Saline. No surprise that West Rusk took care of Grand Saline there, and they're in a collision course for a big game. It's one of our pick'ems this week between Rusk and Troop. Guys, this district is shaping out to be a very interesting. Anybody surprised by the score differential? I really wasn't.
No, I mean West Rusk is a really good team. Grand Saline's just not there yet. West Rusk and Troop this week will be an interesting one. It's also the red zone game of the week this week, but that'll be a good game this week. But I'm not surprised with the score. West Rusk is a good team. And my only concern last week for West Rusk is that they would overlook Grand Saline looking ahead to this Troop game. They obviously did not. So kudos to the Raiders.
I think that for one, I'm not shocked about it. I didn't even think. I thought West Rusk was going to score 50. I mean, like that's just how good they are.
The district.
I'm just saying, I thought they were going to score 50 because they can't hang with them. They can't hang with them. And to be honest with you,
here's the thing, Christian. Even last year when they had Andon Mata, Tate Windings, and Jimmy Harper and all those, they only put up 38. And they nearly lost that game. A little more time, Grand Saline would have won that game. They came back on them. So 50 is a little much. I don't think West Rusk is going to put up 50, but they almost did.
I'm just saying, the way that the game was going, I was like, okay. They might go 50. I was thinking about that in my head. I was like, yeah, they might go 50, but I'm not shocked. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if they won by 10 points when they play Troop. I wouldn't be shocked.
I did not think West Rusk would be this good this year.
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought they lost a lot. I thought they lost a lot in Andon Mata. I thought they lost a lot in Jimmy Harper. I thought they lost a lot in Jeremiah Smith. I thought their entire production of offense left, and I didn't have a clue who was going to be the next guy for them.
Next man up.
And so, yeah, no, for sure. And really it's the next, like, they're running the hell out of the football right now too. And that's, one of the biggest things about it. Their back Murphy is incredible. And Cole Jackson, the other guy, has been playing really good football for them as well, running the football. And so, this whole season has been a surprise to me. I didn't think they would be as good as they were. I still had them win in district, but I didn't think, like I said, I've been surprised with their offensive output. I think their offensive output has been very impressive to me this year, just based off of what they've lost and not really knowing what they had coming.
I mean, they've only lost. Oh, go ahead, Kyle.
I was going to say that was a good point, Spence, because last year they threw the ball a lot with Mata because they could. They had, like you said, they had Jeremiah Smith out there, Jimmy Harper. They could throw the ball to. You don't have those guys anymore. So you give kudos to Coach Rafi Mata for realizing that and changing the game plan, changing the scheme. Okay, we don't have the talent to throw the ball like we did last year. Let's go ahead and run the ball down the throat, shorten the game. That's a good call by Coach Mata.
And they've only lost to Malakoff and Tatum, which those aren't
Mount Cross
bad
pretty
losses.
good.
Yeah, those aren't bad losses. And even, Tatum's we think's a little down, but it's still Tatum, and they're a class above, so they're, it's a bigger school. I know some people kind of debate that on whether it matters, but it's still Tatum. They got a ton of athletes out there, and so I don't think that's a bad loss. I do think they had a few injuries, from what I understand in that one, that they didn't have that game. But district, they have. We know ARP's an improved team that just barely lost to Troop. We'll talk about that one here in a minute. And they beat ARP by 30. And then they Winona's having a pretty good season. They ran over them 55-7. And then this one of Grand Sling 41-19. I mean, in preseason, I was kind of with you, Spence. I kind of thought West Rusk would take a step back. I even thought Troop might be able to take a step up and win this district preseason. But now we get to this game, and I think West Rusk is going to take this game. I don't see any reason why they don't if they continue to play the way they have.
Hey, I got a quick stat for you. If you haven't made your picks yet, quick stat. West Rusk has beaten Troop 7 straight games that they've played. The last time Troop got a win over West Rusk was in 2013. Just a stat. That's all I'm saying.
So they're gonna make it 8. What you trying to say?
Kyle,
Trying to make it 8.
Kyle, question. Do you think West Rusk can come out of that region?
Out of the region?
Oh no, region's too tough.
No. I don't think they're that good. I mean, let me preface that. I think they're a good team. I don't think they're good enough to make it to the state semifinals. No.
So I have a friend who I have actually 2 friends who play for Troop, who said that yes, we hope we beat them, but he said that that West Rusk has a good enough team to come out of that region. And I told him no, because the problem is I don't think that defensively they can handle talent down like all those teams that they're playing. Like I don't think they're going to make it out of the region to get that far. So I don't. Right now, I'm not buying it.
Well, in that region, you got Newton, who's undefeated. They're dang good. Dangerfield. Don't overlook Harmony. Don't overlook Eddie's Hooks team. Like that region's tough. Troop in there like that. No, I don't think West Rusk gets out of that region.
Hooks is going to beat somebody. Somebody that we don't think they're going to beat. Hooks is going to beat somebody we don't think they're going to beat.
And probably the biggest threat.
That's not really a bold statement, but I'm telling you, Hooks has got something for somebody.
Yeah, Hooks has got a really good football team.
Christian, you might want to tell your friends we don't do no hoping. Either do or you don't.
Yeah.
You either gonna beat them or you're not. Obviously, they're not confident. Obviously, they're not confident. We don't hope to win. Either you gonna win or you not. You confident?
Listen, he's a fishy. He's a freshman. So I mean, he got a lot.
He don't need to be talking then.
He don't need to be on the field. He don't need to be on the field because obviously he's not ready to play. He's not ready to play if they hope they're gonna win.
He understands.
The next one's one of our big games. We had this game on NETSN as Kyle's going to show you who won this game as Van.
Oh man,
hands it to center.
Oh no,
56-36. Man, that's a big statement for a Lindale Eagle graduate to wear Van gear on air.
Yeah, shirt and the
hat. We trapping out the Van though.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, lucky I didn't break out the polo they gave me too. I got a little polo. I could walk into Van High School with the polo now.
Where is Vince? Because I need to tell him something straight to his face while we're on air right now. If I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I better not ever hear after that what I saw Friday. I better not ever hear that center can be Carthage. I better not ever hear it. I don't want to hear it. I'm not listening to it. The only team right now that can literally there he is. So I'm telling you right now, the only team that can beat Carthage as of right now is a bigger threat to Carthage in 4A Division II is Glen Rose or PG. That's it. That's it. And I wrote that down. PG may be Carthage this year. Literally, if they meet,
Van wrong.
Yeah.
Listen, this
I would be real cautious about speaking with my chest. I did
Van wrong.
that last week. Yeah, I spoke with my chest last week about who was gonna be who and who can't be who, and I laughed at some people. You know, I'm not gonna laugh at nobody else. I ain't gonna speak with my chest about who can't be who. To be honest with you,
You said
when you say Carter's
they can't make up 40 points, Spence. You said they can't make up 40
I know,
points.
right? You know what I'm saying? I spoke with my chest last week.
They made up
As
60
you can
points
see,
because they beat them by 20.
my chest is small at the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here to eat my crow, man. I mean, damn.
Disrespect.
I had no idea. I didn't think they were going to do it. But in all honesty, Van came out with a real similar game plan to what Lindale did.
Yes.
He had a very explosive team out of center, and let's take the air out of the football. I just didn't see Van running for
560. That was my stat I was going to tell y'all about.
And
I thought it was.
The quarterback got hurt.
Kyle, the
I thought it
quarterback
was.
got hurt. The quarterback got hurt, right? Moffitt?
On the second drive of the game, so they had to put.
Is that Jackson's little brother?
No, it was Jackson that got hurt. His little brother.
No, I'm saying it's Jackson. I'm talking about Jackson Rainey.
Oh, yeah.
Is that his little brother?
I think so. I think Kenyon Rainey is his
because I'm telling you, bro, like,
dude,
but
yeah, they 560 though with when everybody in the stadium knew you had to run the football because you can't throw, you got a backup in. Everybody and their mama knew you were running, and you still ran for 560. That is
because all Van does is run RPO, but I mean it barely works.
3 cats over 150.
Bro, and that's
call him Vando from now on. Trapping out the Vando.
I'm not calling him that.
I'm calling him Vando from now on.
Hey,
look,
it's
something.
You gotta give a shout out to that Van defense though. This we talked about the offense, but this defense held center to 7 points. 7 points in the second half. That's it. 7 points.
Listen, Van.
Center was up. Center was up.
I didn't say much about this game last week because I picked center. I really did. But it was kind of like, whoever wins this game is probably going to give Carthage everything they want because these are two really good football teams. I knew center couldn't play defense, and I knew Van could. I'm like, man, could Van really come out here and put up points against center? I don't think Van can score that much.
Yeah, we were wrong.
With no quarterback.
I don't think.
Tumbo finger waving. And I just want to know what makes Carthage so special this year.
I don't know. It's because Van coming. Vando was coming.
I don't think that none of these teams that we're talking about right now, center or Van, I do not think that they can beat Carthage. The only teams that I said that could beat Carthage was Pleasant Grove and Glen Rose.
I'm asking you, what makes them so special this year?
Well, this year, I'm gonna be honest with you. I had them repeating again. The problem was when I started looking at PG, I was like, oh, well, maybe they could get upset this year. The only thing that's really special is that they have a good running game. They have a good running game. The problem that I'm concerned about is when I saw them almost lose to Kilgore, it was just like they're gonna have to get stuff right before they get into the playoffs. Because I'm telling you, right now I have.
You saw what PG did to Gilmer's powered offense.
Yeah, and right now I got Carthage getting upset in the third or fourth round. I got them
getting upset in 2 weeks.
That's what I was about to say. I'm picking.
They got to play the Van.
Van's got 2 weeks to prepare for them, and Jackson Moffitt will be healthy going into that Van in the Carthage game.
Is it a home game for Van? Is it a home game?
No, it's in Carthage. I think.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't remember where it's at.
You got to travel. Honest. You got to travel all the way to Carthage. No.
No, yeah, it's in Carthage. But listen, they got 2 weeks to prepare for it. Van would have beat center by more had Jackson Moffitt been playing. If they could have thrown the ball, they would have beat center. center, we would all agree that center's running back, Caden Dixon's a stud, right? Really good running back.
Right. Absolutely.
21 yards the entire game for Caden Dixon.
Mm.
And the big runs by Monty Cross, the reason they don't even have his stats listed, but he had two 60-plus yard runs, but those were two big plays. Center never drove the ball down the field on Van. It was always big plays that hurt the Vandals. And then
I'm surprised.
Center got smart, went for 2 on one of them just to get the lead because they knew it was going to be a back and forth. But second half, the Van defense was flying around, not letting Center get anything. To hold Center's offense to 7 points in one half, the only other team that I think has done that this year would be Dangerfield when Center beat them 28-21. And I don't even know if that's happened in that game. But just an all-out impressive game. Shout out to the big hog mollies, the big uglies up front for the Van Vandals. They were opening up massive holes.
The best O-line this year. Lindale has had that title the last couple of years, but with Ace Bostic at right guard and Jose Suarez, the big right tackle, those two are massive human beings.
Warriors is what?
They are rolling people.
What is he?
I'm talking about people are being thrown like shot putting defensive linemen. It is crazy. Those some big uglies.
How big is Warriors is what 6'6"?
Nah, he ain't that
So
big. He about 6'3", about 295.
He looks 6'6" on camera. He looks pretty big.
Van was impressive. I mean, I got to see him play when they came to Chapel Hill. I was at week 2, and they were impressive for a time. But that just shows the difference in games. You know, we talk about that Center. We compared them to Chapel Hill in the high-powered offense, and they weren't able to shut down Chapel Hill in that game as Chapel Hill scored 50, made some adjustments. Now we're week 8, and now they're able to do what they needed to do against Chapel Hill against Center. So, you know, looks like they may be catching into form right now.
I have a question. Do y'all think how's Gilmer doing right now? How's Gilmer doing?
I mean, they won 4-3 against LE.
They're 4-3.
They're
they
4-3
big against LE last week.
Yeah, they've lost. Are they in Pleasant Grove, Chapel Hill, and Kilgore?
Are they in the spot to make the playoffs right now?
Yeah, I think they're second.
They'll be 2. They'll probably easily get second.
I want to see Van and Gilmer play again. I want to see those two.
See, so Gilmer's going to get the 3rd seats. They may get Center. Looks like right now.
Ooh.
So a Gilmer Center, first round.
Oh boy, man!
Put on that board.
They're going to need to change the lights for the scoreboard wherever they play at.
You know what? You know what though? Because I think that game will probably be on NETSN, guys. Because
it might be a Rose Stadium.
Our center guys will be on the call wherever that game is. So that would be a interesting one.
I think it should be a Rose.
They don't need to play a Rose. That's too big of a stadium. Center don't travel like that.
Center at home against Carthage, do they have a chance?
They have a chance.
At home.
They have a chance. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna have a chance.
I think Carthage. I think Carthage wins the Center game probably by, I'd say, probably about the same margin that Van won. Probably 20, 25 points.
20. That's fair. That's fair.
All right. Game 10, guys. The 7-mile rivalry. We talked about this a little bit earlier in the district with West Rusk is Troop squeaks by ARP 35-28. That was my upset special of the week. I felt good about it. You know, midway through the second half, I was like, man, this could turn for me. You know, I got to see ARP play. They've been really solid under Coach Mickey this year too. In the rivalry game, Troop, I think Trey Davis had 3 touchdowns, over 200 yards receiving. Still were able to stay with them. Anybody else? I mean, I wasn't surprised. I thought from what I'd seen from ARP and how they're progressively getting better each week, I thought they could play with them at home in a rivalry game because we kind of talked about Troop hadn't played a very tough schedule. ARP has played a little bit tougher schedule and was getting progressively better. What do you guys think about this game?
Troops, I hate to say this, but Troops in trouble. Because I said this this morning when they I said this when they literally when I literally tell you that their defense cannot close a game, they cannot close a game. And it's concerning me because I had them getting to the third round. I have them I still have them getting to the third round right now. But they cannot, even against a team. You could put an 0-6 team up against them, 0-7, whatever record you want to have. You can put that type of caliber team up against their defense, and they cannot close. They barely scoop by, and you can't trust them. They're in trouble. The fact that they almost got beat by Arp. Now, obviously, that's a rivalry game. We know that. Arp ain't no slouch. Troop's not no slouch, but their defense is a problem. So, in my opinion, they're in trouble. Arp was giving it to them the entire night, and we're gonna see. We're gonna see what happens. I don't right now. I don't trust Troop.
Well, here's the thing. It's a rivalry game, like you said. Troop and Arp, it was going to be close. I didn't expect Troop to blow out Arp. I didn't think it would be that close, really, where it came down to a freshman running back for Troop who scored the game-winning touchdown with like 5 minutes left. I didn't see that happening. But, again, rivalry game, I'm not surprised by that. I think that Troop we'll see what Troop's made of this week when they play. They're probably the best team that they've played this season in West Russ coming up. So we'll see what the Troop Tigers are made of, and it'll be 7-0 is nothing to scoff at. You play who's on your schedule. So I think we'll see what Troop's made of this week. And I think Arp's still third best team in that district. So I think both teams are well in the playoffs, I think.
I just think they're still in trouble. I just don't see in a scenario where they beat West Russ this week.
I don't know, man. Stars make plays, and I think that was the biggest thing. And what I appreciated the most out of watching Troop this past week is they did not fail to get their best guy the ball. When you look at Trey touching the ball like 17, 18 times between catches and rushing, I mean, that's what it takes. I mean, that's and when you don't have that many weapons, Troop does, they don't, it's not like they're lining up before wide and all four of them can hurt you, you know what I mean? So it's really, I was just happy to see them get their guy the ball. And I'm really anxious to see how good Trey Davis really is, because if Trey is really, he's D1, he's got D1 offers. If he is who he say he is, then I think he'll have a big performance against West Russ this week. I don't know. I'm not saying they're going to win, but I'm more interested in that player and Grayson Huron and how they play versus how I necessarily am about, how the whole team does, to be honest with you, because I really didn't expect Troop I expected them to be second. I got my preseason predictions up now, and I had West Russ 1, and I had Troop 2nd, Arp 3rd, and then I didn't know who to put for the 4th spot. I had Edgewood, which, I didn't know.
Sounds like we're pretty close.
Well, that district still don't know who they want for the 4th spot. It's still up for grabs. They don't even know.
Yeah, it's a big mess down there in that 4. You don't want to be down there in those having to what if scenarios if you're those teams. So we kind of talked about it.
Which, who does this district partner with? Who do they have in the first round?
10-3A Division 2. So it's that Hooks district.
Yeah, so it won't matter. No.
You just don't want to be 4th anyway.
Whoever's going to be
start basketball season a week early and just
that's it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even show up. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you don't show up.
No, I'm just kidding.
But you don't want that.
But it's going to be over.
Yeah. All right, let's look at our polls here, guys. We got let's start with our 6A, 5A polls. Start from 5, go up to 1. We got Tyler High at 5, Mount Pleasant at 4, White House 3, Texas High 2, and Longview stays 1. How's that look for you guys?
I had it the exact same, other than I had Tyler High and Mount Pleasant flipped. That's all. I had Tyler High at 4, Mount Pleasant at 5, but I had all those teams in there.
I had Tyler High at 4. I think Mount Pleasant stays at that top, at that 5 spot.
Yeah, I had Mount Pleasant at 4. I had Lufkin at my 5 right now because I think that I feel like Lufkin is better than Tyler High, in my opinion. I picked them this week in this game to beat Tyler High, so if I'm going to pick them, then I voted my poll higher. That'll work itself out. Who wins that game will probably slide up, and then also the White House Mount Pleasant will work itself out also this week. So we'll see. Those two are right next to each other. We'll see where they are in the poll. I mean, it kind of is unanimous with our top 2, Texas High and Longview and White House. Those top 3 teams have been pretty much there the whole time. So not much change there. Good to see Mount Pleasant moving up in the rankings though, as they've earned it, as they've played a pretty good season so far. All right, 4A. I feel like there's going to be some shifting in this 4A poll this week.
This one was tough.
Yeah.
And I really haven't looked at these yet. I'm just going to read them as I have them here. All right, so we're going to start from the bottom and go up. Brownsboro at 10, Lindale at 9, Gilmer at 8, Sulphur Springs at 7, Center at 6, Van 5, Chapel Hill 4, Kilgore 3, Pleasant Grove 2, Carthage 1. What do you guys think?
So
I'm gonna throw a little curveball at y'all. I know Carthage hasn't been beaten this year. I'm gonna flip Carthage and PG. I'm gonna flip them. I'm gonna go ahead and do it because I think PG has a better chance to beat Carthage if they meet them, which I think they will. PG's 1 right now, right as of right now.
So this one was tough for me because I want to reward Lindale for winning. So I moved them. I had them at 9 last week. I moved them up to 7, but I couldn't put them over Center. I couldn't put them over Van because they lost to Van. I can't hurt Chapel Hill too much because I kept Chapel Hill in front of Van because Chapel Hill beat Van. So I put Kilgore. I had Carthage 1, Pleasant Grove 2, Kilgore at 3, Chapel Hill at 4, Van at 5, Center at 6, Lindale at 7, and then Sulphur Springs, Gilmer, and Brownsboro. But that 3 from 3 to 7, it was tough because it was like, well, this team beat this team, but this team beat that team. It was just weird to do, but it was kind of complicated. But I can't argue with the rankings. I think they're pretty much. It's basically what I had. I think Lindale should be higher than 9, in my opinion.
We were pretty close, Kyle. We were pretty close.
What is Sulphur Springs doing to earn to be above Lindale? Who has Sulphur Springs beat this year? I know they got a good record. I know they only got like 1 loss, but really, who have they played to where you can consider Sulphur Springs more impressive after beating the number 1 team in Texas?
That was my point. I have them behind Lindale. Like that's right. I didn't. I like Sulphur Springs because of the record, but you're right. They haven't beat anybody that's really just world beaters.
I think it's
be honest.
The losses is what made me rank Lindale down. I think because if you lose 4 games, I don't care who you if you're like, what if you're a team? If we take college poll for instance, you're a team that you're not even in the poll and you beat somebody that's top. Are you immediately going to move all the way up ahead of someone that
is this like only one power ranking, or is this
in general? Just in general.
Okay, well, that's fair.
Because you've lost that many games. I mean, yes, you're going to move up to me, but you've got to now. Go ahead, Kyle.
3 of their 4 losses are the teams that we have in the top 10, with it being Gilmer, Kilgore, and Van. So yes, they have 4 losses. You're right, but 3 of those are to top 10 teams. So
right,
and I put them. And I mean, you could honestly say a similar thing about Gilmer, with Gilmer losing to Kilgore. Gilmer lost to Chapel Hill. Like they've lost to good teams as well. And then they beat Lindale. So, but I
Yeah.
still had Lindale above Gilmer because right now I think Lindale's playing better football than Gilmer is. And I think if those two teams met again, it might be a little different story. But
right now, and you know what, Spence, I'm gonna be honest. I think Sulphur Springs, they haven't, they really, because because I talk to a lot of people who know about Texas high school football, and a lot of people have, just from that area, a lot of people have Sulphur Springs a threat this year, and I don't even see them. They may make it to the third round, but to say that right as of right now that they're better than Lindale based off the performance that Lindale had Friday,
Eddie is funny.
he is. Based off the performance that Lindale had Friday, I don't see how Sulphur Springs is. I don't think so because they haven't played nobody.
It's a boring district, and I hate to say that, but when you look at these teams, there's nobody that excites you. I mean, Anna, Kaufman, Community, Paris, Maybank. There's nobody in that district that you just like, oh, I want to go watch them play. So I mean, it makes sense, you know.
I mean, Anna's
the record.
impressive. Anna's impressive. I love Anna.
Yeah, Anna's good. They're gonna win the district, but it's like nobody else.
name wise though,
Anna's-
it's not impressive. I mean,
That's what I'm saying. Like nobody really just like jumps out to go watch
Anna
them.
is probably the team that I could look at to be like, okay, they could probably get to the fourth round in the semifinal.
So
if they can get past Charlotte Spring. That's
so I was pretty close to
Maybe
Kyle.
past China Spring.
I had Carthage, Pleasant Grove, Kilgore, Chapel Hill, Van as my top 5. I had Sulphur Springs at 6, and that was my reasoning because they had only lost one game. The teams like Gilmer I had them at 7 because Gilmer beat Lindale. They lost to some of the similar teams. Now, of course, they didn't beat Chapel Hill, but you could compare those games all day long. I had Center at 8. I had Lindale and Brownsboro at 10. The reason I didn't have Lindale any higher is because I had them completely out. Now I did bring them back into the rankings because after they won. So, but after they lost to Kilgore so bad, I had bumped them down. So then, I can't just immediately jump them back up because we can't forget about how bad they lost to Kilgore, and you still have to count that. So, that's I think the bottom, like you said, is those other ones you could shift those around all day long, and there'll still be some shifting as we still have Carthage still has to play Van and Center, so we'll see what they look like. And I honestly could see myself moving Pleasant Grove to 1 if Carthage struggles with a team like Van or Center, and Pleasant Grove continues to take care of business. I would bump Pleasant Grove up. I mean, I don't have any problem doing that. But as of right now, I haven't seen Carthage except for teams that were.
What do your eyes tell you? Do your eyes tell you Pleasant Grove is better than Carthage?
Well, I haven't watched as much Pleasant Grove as I have Carthage. As I haven't seen.
You don't have to watch enough. They're better than Carthage.
Well, but Corey,
defensively, I think they're better than Carthage.
Now, I will.
You don't have to watch any tape. They're better than Carthage.
Corey, you quote me on this. That when we started the very beginning of the season, who did I say was going to probably beat Carthage this year? They had a chance to get them this year. Who did I say?
I'm assuming you're going to play.
Yeah, and you guys gave me a hard time about it. Y'all like, I don't know. I remember this because I was the only one that was like that thought Pleasant Grove had a chance. I said, well, if they're going to get them this year, it was a year. No, that was preseason.
Spence, does PG have 2 Division I running backs?
Yeah, Cade McFadden and Jalen Boyley.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, and I know I said that Carthage had the better bunch of running backs, but after
Eddie is
I don't think that I think that this is the year that Carthage gets beat by PG, and if they don't get beat by PG, they're going to get beat by Glen Rose because I don't. After what I saw from that Kilgore game at the beginning of the year, I was just like, they're going to get beat this year. And right now, I love Jet Surratt, but right now I'm not in love with how he right now. I'm not in love with how he plays quarterback right now. He has another year. I would say this: they're probably going to get upset by PG or Glen Rose, they'll probably go into the offseason. They'll get them better, and I think Carthage will be back on top next year. But right now, for this year, PG, this is the
I'm
year
not
for
gonna say
them to get
it's
them.
so much as Jet. I think Jet's fine. I think Jet is as productive. I mean, he's got the most yards in East Texas right now. I mean, he's throwing for the most yards in East Texas through 8 games. It ain't necessarily Jet that's the problem. I think, like I said, I think it's the talent that surrounds Jet. I don't think they're as good as they are at wide receiver, and I think that's going to come back to bite them at the end of the day.
Because I'm like,
to me.
how do you replace Noah Patty and Montreal Haddon? You know, those guys like that. I mean, you can't. I mean, you can, because I mean it's Carthage. I mean, I listen. I thought Carthage. I thought they were done after that 2020 season, and because you remember they got beat by China Spring the year after that. After they won the state championship, I thought they were
Yes,
done.
Jay.
And then we saw what happened last year. They pretty much just went through everybody, and the only close game they had was Glen Rose. I mean, they literally killed almost everybody. So, I mean,
two things here. To me, and this is just how I do my poll. Carthage is the top spot. They've won 24 straight games. They were defending state champs. They haven't lost in 24 games. I'm not moving them out of my top spot. That's just Pleasant Grove may be the better team. I'm not denying that. But until somebody beats the king, I'm not taking them down. That's just me. But to Jake's question, if Chapel Hill loses to Kilgore, will Chapel Hill stay in the top 5? Not a chance. There's no chance they stay in the top 5 with 2 losses. I don't care who the losses are to. No way you're staying in the top 5 with 2 losses with the rest of those teams that are in there, because they're already at what, 4? So you lose to the number 3 team, I still got to drop you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but look at this. Look at it this way. So, you know, Van, they got to play Carthage, so they have a chance at losing another game. You've got Sulphur Springs, who we don't know if they're how good they are. You've got Center down there, and Lynn. I mean, I don't know how far they drop because there's not anybody to move up. I mean, maybe they drop out of the top 5 for a week, but I mean, of course, that's the last game of the season too.
Man better shoot up.
That's the thing. Do you move up Center? Do you
shoot
move
up.
up Gilmer? Who do you move up?
I don't know. You can't move up because by then Van's played Carthage, so they most likely we think Carthage is probably going to win, or I do. So I think Van's going to probably now they have 2 losses. So if it's 2 loss and 2 loss, Chapel will beat them. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to put that because it just depends on how everybody else does. But I don't think they fall very far just because there's not really. You're not putting a team of like Lindale, even though they beat them, loses 4 games with a 2-loss team. To me,
even if Lindale wins out,
they'd still wouldn't. In my poll, they're not going to drop. You got 4 losses versus 2.
I understand, but I mean, but they also won head up. I mean,
if they win that, Sweeney, if Lindale wins that district, do you think that they'll be
Lindale's not winning the district?
I don't think they'll win the district either because I think they'll lose Palestine.
Well, I don't think that, opinion. But I think by the tiebreaker, even if Chapel Hill beats Kilgore, the point differential will not. Kilgore blew out Chapel Hill, Kilgore beat Lindale by too much for Lindale to try and advance in the number. They're behind in the numbers game. There's just nothing they can do. They're set in stone. Their -3 is set. They can't change it.
Yeah.
Well,
so right now we're probably looking at Lindale being a 2.
Yes, maybe. The AP top 10, obviously, because we're statewide. I mean,
it's statewide.
A little different than ours. It's just not, and we'll see. I mean, who knows who has won and lost by the time we get to that point. So it's kind of a tough question.
We got Brownsboro in our top 10. They're safe.
Yeah.
They definitely ain't dropping out of the top 10. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's go check out this. Let's last this small school 3A2A TAPS poll this week. This is always the toughest one for me to rank because there's just so many teams. Number 10 is Love Lady. Number 9, Grace Community. Tied at 7th is Garrison and Troop. At 6 is Hooks. Time for 4th is Dangerfield Beckville. 3 Winsboro, 2 Malakoff, 1 Timpson. That's pretty much been the consistent top 3 for a while. What do you guys think about this?
I'm gonna be honest with you on this one. Didn't even change a single thing in my poll from last week. All the teams won. I mean, there wasn't anything I was going to do with my poll, so I didn't change it at all. So I have the exact same teams that were in it from last week. So, but I like seeing a couple different teams on there that we have. Love Lady, yes, they're 7-0. Haven't played the toughest of schedules, but they are undefeated. And then Grace Community being 7-0 as well. That's impressive for them. So I like to see those teams making it in the top 10. We always talk about this with this 3A, 2A TAPS poll, the toughest one to do because there are so many teams that are even that you could put in the top 10. I would say probably the top 3 we can all agree on. Timpson, Malakoff, Winsboro, 3 best teams right there. But then after that, it's kind of a crapshoot for the rest of it.
Yeah. So 3 of us had Dangerfield as the 4th best team. Brandon has Troop still up there. I dropped Troop a little bit in mine just because they just haven't been impressive in some of their district wins. See, I actually had West Rusk up in my poll. I have them at number 9. They're 2 lost.
That's
Troop.
That's what's getting me.
Troop said
West Rusk can't play.
I mean, West Rusk lost to Malakoff and to Tatum, which is, I mean, those are tough. Those are tough.
I had
games.
Jefferson in there over West Rusk. Jefferson's one loss is to Timpson, and they played them tough. They played them competitive. I mean, if anything, Jefferson should be up there too if you're going to have West Rusk in it.
Right.
I had Troop at 8. Personally, I have Troop at 8. But that's a little bit of a problem because you got to look at the teams that's under them. So I don't know at this point. I just think that Troop is going to lose this week, and they'll probably be. Is it possible that they can drop out of the top 10?
I mean, the top 10's tough. So, I mean, if they go out and West Rusk thumps them, and they hadn't played anybody else, I mean, I don't have a problem dropping them out completely out of it.
I know.
The only division that's sitting at 7, yeah, they can get dropped. Because I mean, West Rusk replaces them, right? If they beat them.
Well, and there's teams that aren't even in the poll that are really good. That I think, yeah, if Troop loses with where they're at in the rankings right now, if they lose, they're out of the top 10. I mean, that's the product of the schedule that they played. It's not a tough schedule. So one loss, no matter if it's to a good team or not, you don't get the benefit of your record like we give the benefit to a Lindell or to a Gilmer because they played tougher teams. Troop doesn't get that benefit.
Yeah, because you can't say, well, we've beat a couple of good teams too to balance out. Well, we just lost to a tough team. I mean, you don't have anything to balance it with. So,
Corey, you still with us?
So what?
Corey, you still with us over there?
Oh yeah, I just didn't do a poll, so I ain't gonna even say.
Oh, well, you can still tell us what you think about the polls. You can always give your opinion.
It don't. I mean, it's just I don't. I mean, it's hard for me to rank teams. I can't rank them at this point. I'm listening though. I'm listening.
All right. Well, that's pretty much it. Where are you guys going to be this week? Kyle, you told us where you're going to be.
Troop in West Rusk. And tomorrow night, actually, I'm going to shoot some first half highlights of the Big Sandy Union Grove game. I know, not the best game in the world, but hey, it's some highlights.
It's big. Right. It's big for them. It's big for them.
Somebody's going to get the first district win. Both of them 0-3 in district. Somebody's going to get the first district win.
All right. Great action there. Great action. Chris and I are going to be in Chapel Hill Friday night as Henderson will be coming to town to an angry pack of dogs. Be interesting to see how that game turns out. Spence, what you guys got on tap Friday?
I'm in McKinney, baby.
Ooh.
7 o'clock, McKinney district championship on the line, baby.
Back to the scene of the crime.
There we go.
Yeah, you want better results than the last time.
Either in both times. 2021, we lost to McKinney North up there. And then, of course, we lost to McKinney to start the year off. So,
hey, listen, if I don't know who that. I don't know who that was who fumbled, but if they don't fumble, they probably win that game.
That's fair to say. I mean, there's a couple of calls that we probably should have did different too on there. Defense, I'm not gonna get into that. Heck no, y'all gonna get me fired today. But nah, man, it's gonna be a good time, man. Hopefully we come out to play.
PGLE is where Eddie's going to be. That's a good one. It's a little rivalry there.
Okay.
But should be some good ones this week.
I need to get Spence on a podcast so we can talk a whole hour.
Speaking of that, Spence, go ahead and plug your channel there.
Oh yeah, Spence and Co. Spence and Company CO. On YouTube. Pretty much a lot of the everything you saw tonight is pretty much the same thing. Try to do a weekly top 10 most intriguing games. Try to talk about, like this tomorrow's episode that drops in the morning. Kind of go through a lot of the games, kind of go through some of the playoff scenarios about, why the game is important and what the records would be for those teams and who's trying to get in. And then, like I said, my baby is my top 100 list that I try to do at the end of the year. Look at all the guys that made first team, first team all district in their districts, and try to grade their highlight tapes and see who the best 100 players are in this region. So Spencer Company, and if you see it, I don't know if I need to find a way to get my emblem up here. I need to be cool like Kyle, get it behind me right now. But, we'll figure it out eventually. But
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna backdoor that. If y'all not watching this stuff, I've been watching stuff about this past 2 years. You're not watching this stuff, you're missing out. It's very depth, very good analysis on some players in East Texas. Very underrated show.
Yeah,
I second that, Corey.
Yeah, it's good stuff. We appreciate you coming on, Spence. What happens is what you're getting is you're getting that little carrot dangling. And so we got you the first week now, and so you got little.
Well, I couldn't be the guy that ran after what I said last week. I can't say as much as I said last week about Van and Center and Chapel Hill and Lindale, and then both games go the way they did, and I not show up. I've got more character than that.
I respect that, Spence. There was a group of fans last year that did not do that. There was a group of fans last year that did not do that.
Didn't say that. I'm not gonna say where they from, but they rhyme with hooks. But anyway, hey, it's okay.
Oh Lord!
Yeah, I got a little bit more character in me than that, and I appreciate Kyle for not rubbing it in my face as much as he did. Because if it was a shoe was on the other foot, you would have.
Hey, listen,
listen. Vince was trying to be here today. You better believe Vince was going to be here today.
Yeah, that's
Vince was going to go after you. Vince was going to get you.
It's too late now. It's too late, Vince. I showed up. I came for next week. I ain't got to be here. I don't have anything that ties me, with my where I have to be here next week. So if you catch me next week, you catch me next week. But I don't know. I showed up. You didn't show up, so hey, I went home.
Spence, I got Vince this week. I had something for him when it came to that center comment. Because he said that center was going to be Carthage, and after what I saw Friday,
they still might. They still might.
That's not.
They still might.
That's why they play the game, fellas. That's why they play the game. Friday the 13th was weird. Hey, we might have another weird week that's coming up. Spence, thanks for joining.
Hey, real quick, the same thing we talked about with Chapel Hill being pissed off that they just got beat by Lindale. You better believe Center's pissed off that they just got embarrassed by Van. 560 yards on the ground. You best believe that practice this week was hell.
Hey, so if you want to know if you want to know what Coach Meeks had to say, we do have a coaches show, the Rick Meeks show, every week on NETSN. So Center's coach, they have Center guys have a little show. I actually haven't got to watch it yet, but I kind of want to go back and see what he had to say about this last week's game, just from the coach's perspective. But again, Spence, we thank you for joining us again. You have an open invitation here at NETSN. Anytime you want to jump on with us, we appreciate having you. Christian, Kyle, Corey, Spence, for the missing Vincent Johnson, wherever he may be, I'm Brett Swinney. We'll catch you next week right here on the Weekly Wrap-Up Show. Y'all have a great weekend. Enjoy your football.
Let's go, Buffs.
Go, Bama.
Is your demanding work lifestyle in need of fire-resistant clothing that can keep up? Well, L4FR clothing should be your go-to for quality, affordability, safety, and style. L4FR was founded by a third-generation oil field worker who is also a veteran. Thus, this company has a deep appreciation for reliability and longevity, all while we provide first-rate customer service. Our durable apparel will serve you well for many years to come, whether you're working on a pipeline, a lineman climbing utility poles, or in any other environment requiring fire-resistant apparel. L4FR has you covered. Our apparel is tough enough to resist hazardous conditions while still providing high comfort and style. L4FR provides clothing options to ensure your safety and comfort, whether you're on the job or not. To view our complete inventory of flame-resistant garments, please visit our online store at l4frclothing.com or give us a call at 817-757-4935. Si habla español.
Struggling with mobility, chronic pain, work, or sports injury? At Azalea Orthopedics, our team of highly trained physicians specialize in complete orthopedic care, pain management, sports medicine, physical medicine, and rehabilitation. If you've sustained a bone or joint injury, have mobility or movement problems, struggle with pain, contact Azalea Orthopedics. We're conveniently located across East Texas, serving 18 counties. When visiting your doctor, urgent care, or hospital, you have a choice. Demand Azalea. At Azalea Orthopedics, your health is our priority.